Welcome to In Conversation with Koketso Mapelelo, a place where we have conversations about, yo, do we really want to talk about it?
Also educational about his mouth. So I couldn't take it off, but I needed to build a bond with this person. I needed to take accountability. I don't think the law understands that the men closer to their kids will make them more responsible than as fathers. Our forefathers didn't know that. They were not expected to be there. The system didn't allow them to be there. Their work didn't allow them to be there. A society found taboo that a man could be there. A man can change diapers. It was taboo. Why would you do that as something like, oh, and we need to allow that, we need to allow that, like Tom made the law, especially women who struggle with fathers law technique. Just give it access enough. I know you think you might harm the child in the process, but let the child get closure that let him see that the child doesn't have shoes. Because being told that my son doesn't have shoes, I'm actually seeing that he doesn't have shoes. It's very different. Seeing will come with the feeling. Yet can be avoided, can be ignored. But I think we need fatherhood is such a beautiful thing. It's not great than anybody to have than fatherhood, and it must be taken with intentionality. I've done this intentionally all my life. I don't have access to my other kids.
I was about to say,
As it's been painful. It's been no. I lost everything. In fact, I lost everything. I had to give out my career and all of that. But I could never forget being a father. I can never stop being a father. I'm fathering somebody now. And they're like, I'm a father. And he reminds me all the time. He reminds me all the time of the beauty of the fatherhood relationship, the benefits of the fatherhood, and he's growing so intellectually and free and confident because of the present. He can cry for daily, say, I want to go see my daddy, I want to see my daddy, and that's so beautiful. I benefit, he did benefit, and I always get the recollection of how the scholar would be missing out with bullshit, But there's a beauty in fatherhood. There's a beauty in society allowing fathers to be, and seeing that beauty. Because unfortunately, there are innate things that come with being a man. Just like innate things that comes with being a man, And very started child's life. 2 or 3 days ago. Was it Monday? We're on Wednesday today. Monday, no, Sunday. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Sunday, I spent almost 3 hours convincing an unmarried woman without a relationship about having it. She's adamant that she's able take care of it, going on.
wait. Take a few steps back. You spent 3 hours convincing an unmarried woman to do what?
Not to have a kid.
Oh, okay. Yes. How did you guys even get there? Is she pregnant?
We talked. She's not pregnant. She wants a kid. That's how it started. She said, I want to have a kid. But hey, as far as I'm concerned, you're not even seeing any baby, and you don't want a relationship, and that you have in relationship issues. And why would you reach
Wait, Cristela, your network. Hold on. Your network, I don't know if there's something going on, but you're cutting a lot.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, yes, tell me. So you were saying you were trying to convince the woman to not have a child.
Yes. So I spent 3 hours, And she was adamant that she's gonna have a child irregardless. And this is where I found the upset part about us as humans and us as potential parents or parents,
Mm-hmm.
that we think less of what that child's life should look like and try and attempt to see things from their end, because she wants to have a child because of her biological clock and that her finances are all in well,
Mm.
but she's fully aware that the father will not be there.
So she's not like
We
gonna
are
go
now,
for like what is it called? Like she's not gonna go to a sperm bank. She's just gonna have a child with someone.
yeah, she's gonna have a child with somebody. They stay, they don't stay, she doesn't care as long as she gets the child. And she's not the first women I've met like that. I've met quite a number, and I can't find the justification that you think it's okay to consent that the child doesn't want his father before he's even born.
Mm.
I mean, the data is out there. The data is out there. The data says we are reaching 70% of fatherless homes in the entire globe. Now, this is not even a South African problem. It's a problem across each and every state, everywhere.
Mm.
And then we still have people who think it's okay to still create situations where father will not be there, considering the fact that the same data explains to us that men who are incarcerated, people who are incarcerated, 80% of them don't have fathers. 80% didn't know their father, they didn't leave their father to live there, including the lady in question, she also didn't have her father full time. Her father worked far away and came home sometimes,
Mm.
you know. But we are keeping this culture perpetuating forever because we don't want to take the accountability that if we want to be parents, it's unfortunate that we must fall in love with marriage. We must be married. We must try to be in a surviving marriage that is okay and happy so that we can create the kids that are better. That's where it starts. Might not even win developing the township if we keep creating kids outside of marriage because data tells us that those kids are not going to be stronger adults. They have lesser chances than kids who grow up in a two-parent household or a male-only household. We have all that data, but everybody's disputing that data in decision making. I don't understand how that could be a thing.
Mm.
I mean, it can't be the thing that I want to have a child because I think I want to further my legacy as a Bonani and do that and that and that, and not consider that to further that legacy, I must protect it so that it's done properly and correctly. So I must marry somebody and bring them into this household and then start bringing the kids in the household. We don't think in completeness to say, I'm not a full father if my kid is not always with me.
Mm.
All the moments you miss away are the moments that might create the moments that you don't want, are the moments that may create a child that you don't want. When I talk about fatherhood, I normally go back to Tupac's song, Dear Mama. That song
Yeah.
says a lot about parenting and it's
Mm.
both the
How
song.
so?
In Dear Mama, Tupac says, uh, he says to his in the song, in the lyrics, he says, even though I knew that they were bad, they had young brother love, referencing the street life
Mm-hmm.
that his mom told him about the street life, that it's not okay and all of that and all of that. But the street life had young brother love. That means Tupac didn't have that love at home because his father was not there. So he
Mm.
got that love from outside were there. And unfortunately, love is like that. If you love somebody, you normally take everything with them. It's very
Yeah.
hard to separate somebody you love because of one, two other things that don't make you happy with them. So he then got into gangsterism because of the young brother love. He describes it as
Mm.
young brother love, but that's a profound love he has connected with that he couldn't find at home, that he couldn't find anywhere. If there was a church in his area, he couldn't find it in church. If there was soccer team, he couldn't find it in soccer team. But gangsterism
Mm.
mastered it. They master the way of welcoming and loving, and we want to bring kids into a society, into a household but those, I don't think the responsible father would think to do. The most regret I have is to have kids outside marriage.
That actually
The
takes me
biggest
back to
regret.
what you said earlier on about you at first being allowed to be a father and to be present and to do all of that. When did that, um, I don't even know whether I should term it as a right or, you know, the access, the accessibility to your child. When did that get taken away? When did you stop being allowed? And what did you mean by you were allowed and, now you don't have that anymore?
So what happened is in the beginning of my fatherhood, and we are parenting very well. We received a really, really strain from her parents. They wanted her to be married. She didn't want to get married also. They didn't approve of certain ways of how to do things. So they started turning against her, in a real bad way. I won't go into detail
Yeah,
about
you don't
that.
need to. Yes.
But she then made a decision to say, Sicelo, you know what, let's call it off. Let's just co-parent so that I can probably regain my family in that process. And
Mm.
then we separated and co-parented. And we co-parented for almost 3 years, right? And then
Were
on the
you
third
guys
year,
living
I met
together
somebody.
before that?
I don't know,
You
we were
still
not
lived
living together
separately.
at all. We live separately, but we have full access. I saw my son every day. I
Mm.
could go into his house, bath him in his house. I could take him away, go sleep with him, and bath him in my house, and all sort of
Yeah.
things. So we're not staying together. And then on the third year, I met somebody, and then she gave me an ultimatum that if you don't leave that somebody and stay with me because I still love you, and I hope that we'll get back together. You gotta draw your child. That's how, in a nutshell, I lost access to my child.
Wait. So you lost access because you got into a relationship,
Yes,
even though you and your son's mom were not together. You guys had called it quits, if I'm hearing you correctly.
yes,
Just like that.
yes. Just like that, unbelievable. Just like that. When I talk about this most of the time, people say, "What did you do? Go back and
Of course,
apologize." And
everyone would wonder, like, what did you do? Just like that, because you got into a
I,
relationship.
I'm like, I wish I had done something wrong so that I go fix that thing,
Mm,
go fix that, and then things get better. There was no way I could dissolve my relationship because uh, I'm being threatened with the loss of my child.
mm,
And if I did, the relationship would not survive. My child would be in the worst case scenario because I'll be resentful. I would have been hostage there.
yeah, you would
And
have.
it wouldn't be a great idol. My son would see through me because kids have senses beyond what we can imagine. He would sense that there is something going on here.
Mm. Wow. I'm lost for words. I mean, I had seen you mention because Kayo-san's birthday, you always have like the live videos where you trying to, I think the last one that I saw, he did come out for a few seconds or a few minutes, ka ko ntle ga jarata, and you were like there with the poster and stuff. Like, before then, you had mentioned something. I think I remember like a little vaguely you mentioning that, yes, something to do with the relationship. So I really didn't pay much attention to it because I didn't understand how can you being in a relationship cause you to lose access to your child. At that point, and I do understand you saying you couldn't have, I would have also felt like, so that means manje, I'm going to be controlled by if I had a child and the dad was saying, I'm not gonna, what can they possibly say they're not gonna do? But whatever that they don't, they're not gonna
They
do.
men normally say, I won't support the child if you are with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, like I would feel like I'm being cornered because you don't want to get married, and stuff like that. And then now I have this in my life, and this is you basically giving me an ultimatum to choose between my child and that. Do you like somehow feel that to some extent that could be something that not that it's justifiable in any way, but do you think the mom might have felt that you chose a relationship over your child and not necessarily like her seeing it as I'm giving this person an ultimatum that basically kind of sends a message that I want to be in control of who and the people that you are with. How do you think, did you guys ever get to talk about that or no?
No, I think she knew very well that I wasn't gonna choose any women against my child.
Mm,
Even my partner at the time knew that very well. That if you ever, even at once, think you could compare to my son, it's unfortunate that because I had a child before you always take priority, because I have more responsibility than I would have to a partner,
mm.
because I brought him here, I met you, so it's obviously always gonna be a difficult thing, Unless my child is wrong, then I don't have to choose. We
Of
are
course,
correcting the
you need to
child, but
discipline your
if
child at
it's
that
just
point.
a normal if it's just a normal, I must choose him against, it
Mm,
would never happen. And she also knew that. So she was really felt undone by not being chosen herself,
mm.
and insecurities of exposure of a child to another woman.
Wow, that really, like, even now it's bringing back the feelings that I had because I do remember. I think you know a little bit about my story with. I'm not sure if I ever shared this with you, but I do know that. Many times that I've seen your videos, I had really sat down with myself and thought like, what if my mom denied my dad access to me? And given that my dad passed away, I think I was about to turn 9 because it was October and my birthday is in November, and of course, like God works in miraculous ways. I do remember maybe when I was like 7 or 6, my dad had picked me up from my mom's house and we went to his house. And I was asleep throughout the trip. But when we got there, I think he got out of the car I don't know what was happening, but then I woke up, still in the same position and got it, I'm sleeping. And then I heard my dad and my dad was about to get married before he passed away, his fiance. And when she came out, I did hear her saying to my dad, you're gonna take her to her grandmother's place, which is, because and stuff. My dad lived in zone 1, my grandparents lived in zone 2, and she was basically saying, take her there and stuff. And one of the memories that I will really never forget was hearing my dad say, this is my child. This is this is my first love, like in between me and you. And if anything, I'm not going to choose you over my child. So you better decide. Are you going to sleep somewhere else? Or are you going to be okay with the fact that my child is here? And it didn't like, of course, in that time, I didn't really, see the gravity of all of that. But growing up, I was like, my gosh, that man really loved me. Like, there was no point where he said, let's talk about it. It was a it's either this way or this way. You choose, but my child is staying. So it does really break my heart to kind of also see that, you know, not just with you, but with a lot of other men. I don't know what they have done, but honestly, I do feel there's no justification to withhold a child from either of their parents, because at the end of the day, even if we have problems in relationships, that's still that child's, parent. I'm sure my mom, given that she was raising me as a single mom, my mom probably, and my dad was getting married, she could have also chosen to be like, "Ay, wena, yeah, kwa, Vincent," like, but I'm glad she didn't because had she denied me access, I would have never really known how much my dad really loves me. And it's so beautiful to also see you have to like do not have to, but like do the live videos. That's like proof to your son that I've always wanted you. I've never really not wanted you, and this is why I'm here. Um, is there any hope? Do you think there'll ever be a hope or any kind of light in Yana that says you would be able to have access to your child?
It's only a matter of time
Mm,
before it starts revolting. And even though I don't want him to revolt, but it's only a matter of time. And I was intentional in my parenting. He remembers things with him before he was 3. He's 9 years old now,
mm,
and I've only planned it carefully because I don't want him to be affected negatively. But it's only a matter of time. And I know we will rebound very beautifully and we'll
mm,
spend enough time, you know, very much so. I have no doubt of his love for me. I can see all the time I get a chance to pick on him, and I can see it. The way I saw it the first few days of his life, it's still the same way. What is very much scary is that the lessons about respect that I taught him
mm,
are making him obey his mother's instruction and not engaging with me. That for me, I'm also proud that even though he's not engaging me, he's doing what I taught him to do, to always respect his parents. And
mm,
there'll be a time where we are able to engage this better and he has a voice and his voice will be heard soon enough. So I'm a proud father to have fathered him to that time. He could have even been benefiting more.
mm,
But I've done my best at that time, and um, part of the things that the life is putting a rubber stamp because men must put a rubber stamp on their presence. If you are denied, be there one way or the other. I have emails that I sent to him telling him about how to garden, how to tend a garden, how to do
do
this.
you
He
send
was
it to him
fixing his
actively
phone.
or
Actively, real
is it his
time.
email
I want
address?
I created one for him. It's safe with my
Ah,
will that if I don't make it, they'll give him the letter with the password. He can read all the
oh, I
moments I was
see.
there. But then who else would dispute that I was there on a random 15 acres and I was telling you this lesson, I was sharing you this memory, I was showing you this, I was sharing a playlist
Oh
with
my
you. Those
God.
are real moments that are there. They will not be disputable.
Mm, that's
They'll not be
that's so
disputable.
beautiful. That is so beautiful. Like I can't begin to explain, not even to make this about me, but that reminded me of some when my grandmother passed away. My aunt gave me this little pouch that my dad had, which again shows me so much of how similar I'm basically just that man, only that I'm a woman, and my dad had it's a big pouch, a leather pouch, and inside he had a notebook as well. So it was kind of like a wallet and yeah, he was a bougie man. So he wrote stuff and as I was paging, I'm like, oh Lord, forgive me if I'm invading this man's privacy, but I didn't know enough. And when I got to this one page, I don't even know how I got to it. I saw my dad wrote like okay, to like me, right? And he wrote something about, like my little love. And then I don't know what exactly he was writing, but it was just like random notes. And I was just like, wait, man, this man was actually like, I wasn't, because I know that that was a very long time ago. Like, judging from the other few notes, that he might have written that around 1997, given that I was born in 1995. And, with his budgets and all of that. And I was like, wow, like, this is beautiful to see. It's not as extensive as you write in the emails, but that is just like, wow. And you also not backing down and being like, I don't have access to him, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm just gonna wait for him. You are doing something in the waiting to be like, I still want you to know that I am actively trying to, father you. And that's just beautiful. I have no other words. Like, that's amazing.
It's very important that show up in the most possible way. I tell all my friends who are fathers that first and foremost, in order for you to be a father, try to remove money from fatherhood to see how amazing
Mm,
fatherhood is. Because all we've been told to do was to provide. Remove the provision aside, put it aside, and do things that don't require the
all of that.
money. Take your
Yeah.
child to a
Be a
walk with
father.
him around the area, walk with him,
Mm,
go play with him in the slide or in the swimming pool, whatever he enjoys doing. Do with him, get dirty with him, roll on the grass with him. Do things that he could only remember them only through your eyes, through your presence, and
mm.
say, my dad used to do
Bruh, you taking me
my
down
son
memory
knows that
lane.
my dad used to
Yeah.
do this. You know, this, this, and even now, the boy I'm raising, my boy, you know, there are things he doesn't want to do with his mom because it's a me and daddy thing.
Mm.
Dads must get that's fatherhood, having things with you and your child so that you bond together. You get to share secrets together. You get to be
Mm.
trusted together, trusting each other and be able to stand firm. That each and every time he needs to consult, he comes back to you. We need to be fathers and present. There's something with fathers, when they're there, kids get to be behaved more. They need to be there so that the kids are behaving better than they are. And while I'm talking about behaving, I'm also thinking about discipline. We must be there to teach our children, guide them, and discipline them in a way that I could walk into their house when they are married and not doing well towards their wife and discipline them.
Mm.
Respectfully so, because that's what fatherhood is about. Having methodologies that are timeless in
Mm.
approach. I cannot say I'm raising you and I'm teaching you, I'm disciplining you in a way that won't work when you are husband in your
Adult.
own house. Because
Mm.
we can still be doing wrong in his own house. I should be able to walk in respectfully and say, is this who we are? Is this how we've come about? Why
Mm.
are we doing this? And we ought to then be agile in our approach and be different from our fathers who would clap you, who would just hit you, and
And that
that's
was
how you were in
discipline
order.
and love. Mm.
And love, and they expect a 3-year-old to understand the concept of proper love.
Of love, which is
Parents may
also
have
why
so
today some people, to be honest, I've always said that in as much as we don't like the bad side of society, but it's society, it's us who create those sides. Because if I'm a young
much.
child, and you hitting me and you telling me that that is love, I remember seeing somewhere where someone was saying something like, um, I think the person was American also, like, oh, a lot of black men, a lot of African American men, which I think also applies to other men too. A lot of African American men hate Black women. And why would you expect them to not hate Black women when the fathers were not there and the mothers were there? So even when the mom sometimes would, beat the child up and tell them, I love you, that's why I'm doing this. Um, they had no sense of differentiating between you love me, but you're beating me up like this. Had it been that maybe both parents, I may not even actually be explaining it properly, but had it been that both parents were there and there was some kind of way of, you know, helping this child be or do whatever it is that you want them to do without having it be specifically looked at as it's this woman that is hitting me and because she's doing this to me as I grow up unconsciously, it's not even that it's something that people actively do, unconsciously I start to resent this type of, anyone that looks like my mom, even though, you then say, yes, I love my mom, but you have those parts of you that still need to be healed, because you didn't feel it was right, but it happened. And the same goes for women as well. Just that I've never read or seen a scenario about that yet. Um, I was saying to my other friend that yes, I want kids when I'm married. So I need to be married first, have kids. And when that happens, I know, not even when that happens, I know that I want sons, but I don't think I can teach my son softness in the way that a man would teach my son softness. Because my softness would be from how I understand softness. So I think we do perpetuate as a society the ills that we so badly want to crush, that we so badly want to be like, this needs to stop, and there are so many scenarios. Yes, you want to say something?
We do, without a doubt. Okay, so we do. I tell you now, what you say is a reflection of our society. The level of abuse in relationship is the same people were taught by when we were young that if there's something wrong to correct, you must hit.
Mm,
And tell your wife that I love you. That's why I did this because you did wrong and
that's what I
you
was
hurt
getting to.
me.
That's the
So
part that I missed. Yes.
exactly that. It's exactly that. It's the reflection. And some claim they come all right, but they didn't come all right. They are venting on their kids. They're not beating back their parents. They are venting on their kids, and their kids will avenge on their kids because there is no way around it. We
Mm.
cannot continue building a culture of the. Fully, we must be able to have full capacity and build ourselves as parents that we have enough to discipline our kids. Because our parents didn't have anything they could take away from us
Mm.
as form of discipline. They couldn't retract anything as form of discipline. What they were left with is beating us. Because
Mm.
what would you say? Are you gonna say, don't do what? I have nothing. You bought me nothing.
I'm gonna take your iPhone.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't take my
You
iPhone
can,
from me.
yeah,
You have
true.
given me nothing.
Mm.
Now we can take away pleasures that we give to our kids, privileges that we give them as part
Mm.
of our disciplinary processes. That no, no, no. You're doing that. I'm taking away your holiday. I'm taking away your trip, this trip. I'm taking away the excursions you like. You're not going to go to the zoo anymore. I promised you 3 more zoo that you don't know. We are not going
You're
there
not going
because you're not in
anymore.
line. Yes, but our parents had nothing to offer. So they had to beat us into order, and it
Mm.
was not nice. It's not nice. We shouldn't be doing it to our kids. No kids deserve to be forced to understand the concept of hardcore love that does not really exist. I always say you cannot imagine.
Hello? Skylar. What happened? Oh my gosh. Something gave up. Hmm. Why? Yay. You're back now. My gosh.
Oh, I'm here.
What
Are we
happened?
back?
We have 7 minutes left in
Okay,
this
we can
meeting.
work around our conclusion.
You were saying yes. Imagine someone is teaching you to love hardcore and stuff.
Yes, I was saying, imagine me, I'm approaching you and I want to propose love, and the first thing I do is slap you and say, what? And then you, what? I'm like, I'm trying to show you that I love you.
Yeah, I'd say you mad. You crazy. Something is wrong with you.
Exactly. Yet somebody thought it was okay to develop a concept of love. There is no such things. In my worldview, there cannot be such thing of completely pain. Because pain doesn't get to be interpreted differently by my body because it's hit from love position. Now,
Mm,
if you hit me, if you hit me, I'm gonna feel the pain. The pain will
mm,
take over, and I'm on top of pain is resentment, anger. I'll get all of those things, hate, and all of those things. God knows what happens when I have all of those. If I'm unable to deal with those, I I project in society. I fight with other kids. I hit other people. Later in
mm.
life, I become a serial killer from that projection. You know, and you want to rely on the few that were able to manage the anger and the pain of God when they were beaten. I don't think it's the way we could want to raise our kids.
Wow.
Your screen is green.
My screen is green?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Let's say no, please. This cannot be happening. Well, last question, Stelone. If you were to, if you had access to your child right now, and you were being a father to him in the way that you would have desired, what do you think you would tell Sicelo now, who is, or rather, who does not have access to his son?
That he was loved. That is love. That he must always remember it was not by choice. That even at this time of his knowledge he's getting, he must choose love, not he must choose peace, not evil. He must choose
Wait, you
forgiveness.
are
Not,
breaking. Why is this happening? No, please say something.
hello?
Your line is
Hello?
breaking. I don't know why.
I'm serious. Can you see
I'm
me?
serious. I see you perfectly. It's just the voice. Like there's no glitch in the view. It's just the voice.
In the
Can you please
video.
say it again? If you were to,
Okay.
what would you say to the Skylo now who does not have access to his child?
I will tell him that he has always been loved. He's loved and will always be loved. I'll further tell him that even in this instance of finding out, learning the truth, he must choose love, not hate. He
Mm,
must choose peace, not war. He must choose grace. He must choose forgiveness against any other thing. Because this is a time that he might be confused. This is the time when he needs to dissect and ask
mm,
question whether was mommy's decision right or wrong. Beyond finding that it was injustice that you were denied access to me, I want you to find a way to heal, to
mm.
choose healing over everything, because that's how I have survived not being with you. I had to choose healing each and every day of my life so that you find me as a man steady. Otherwise, I could have resorted to death. I could have resorted to murder. I could have resorted to fighting all the time. But I chose love. I chose peace. I chose to meet you the way I want you to be. A good person who forgives and can move on forward and helps us into healing. It's very important that he chooses love because love solves everything. It's a solution to all.
So consistent. You're so consistent with the things that you say on social media. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming to share such a vulnerable part of your life because I don't think, and I refuse to assume that it's not as difficult because you're a man and that you don't need to be there, as people would say. Um, it must really be a hard journey for you. And I do hope and pray that soon, and sooner than soon, you will be able to have access to your child. And to whomever that hears this, that, probably is going through the same thing as you are, like, is there anything that you would tell them that's different from what you told yourself just now?
So to anybody, especially men who are going through what I'm going through, don't give up. Find a way to be present. You can copy my strategy of emailing them. Just show that you've always been present. The truth will absorb you at some point. Just remain there, unite, belong to a community where you can get support. It's not easy. And make sure that you stay good and honest all the time. I think that's important. Just keep on fighting. Sun will win around you. Don't be discouraged. Their win is yours. And together one day we all win this because it's really beyond just you or me. It's
Mm.
gender wars, like I've said, it is beyond us, the sponsored war, and we need to fight it. We need to fight the system. We need to create enabling environment for kids to have a proper relationship. Things didn't work out between their parents.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I hope this does, reach the people that it needs to reach in terms of, you know, this topic that we're talking about. I know that fatherhood isn't really talked about as much. And thank you so much for really granting me the opportunity to be able to hear you and to also be able to share this with the people that will watch this, and I really do hope that it does have an impact on someone. I really, really, really do thank you for coming on here. I appreciate it. It was very difficult to actually get that time, but I think now I understand why it was so difficult as well, because I was like, something is always coming up. But I also knew deep down that I really did want to have this conversation with you because um, it's an important conversation.